your city. We're gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome along on this first day of February. Thanks a lot for joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle sitting in with you as always. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Hope your day is off to a good one. I know it's a lot warmer today than it was yesterday, so I'm already happier. Got a lot to get to today on the program. We will be talking to Todd Leary, of course, as we wrap up the week and head into the weekend and get ready for things. Drew Davis will join us as well. Nick Baumgart on the program today, too. We'll catch you up on everything there is to get going for the weekend. Before we do that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this first day of February 2019. Indiana women's basketball falls at Rutgers last night, 69-64. In the lone Big Ten game of the night last night, Purdue wins at Penn State, 99-90. Huge trade in the NBA as the Knicks send Kristaps Porzingis to the Mavericks for DeAndre Jordan, Wes Matthews, and Dennis Smith Jr. And IU tries to snap their 7-game losing streak at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, that game at Michigan State. Those are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this February 1st. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
You know the favorite game I watched last night?
What's that?
I watched the women's game.
Louisville, Notre Dame? Or Louisville, UConn?
Yes.
It was a good game.
It's a hell of a game. Big win for Louisville women's team, the Cardinals. Man, that was a good game. You know what I was thinking the whole time?
What's that?
Sure wish we had Asia Durr shooting threes for Indiana.
On the men's team.
How many did they knock down? A lot. There were several. I think they hit 11 or 12 threes. The thing is, they did it with ease. Guess what? It's the same distance for the men's game. Same distance. What was their three-point shooting percentage?
I'm pulling it up now.
The percentage may not be the greatest. I know that they got a little happy there for a minute, but
They shot 38%, 11 of 29.
They shot 29 threes. They got a little happy there. They probably should have been. Percentage would have been a lot better. There was some they put up they shouldn't have. But, man, 11 of them, that's nice. 33 points. Be nice to have, wouldn't it? It's a luxury, apparently.
Durr was 5 of 10 from behind the arc.
50%. Let's see. I'm not great with math. 50%. Isn't that pretty good?
Better than 30 or 24.
What, 24 times?
24%.
Well, that's Indiana's high. They're not even averaging. I think they're averaging 22 probably.
Horrible.
It's unbelievable. So how can you explain that? But what a great game that was. Hell of a win for those guys. It was rocking. KFC Yum Center over in Louisville.
Place gets crazy when the women play a good team.
They had 17,000 people at that game.
That's nuts.
It was like the fourth largest game they'd ever had at KFC Yum Center. That was fun to watch. I hate to say it. It was the best game I'd watched for a while.
Yeah. Well, you've been watching Indiana.
I understand. That's what's so disappointing. Indiana has another chance to get things straightened out tomorrow. Can you believe this is beginning of February?
It's crazy.
Birthday month.
That's right. Forgot that. We start celebrating today then, right?
Yeah, we got a lot to get to today. Todd Leary will be on the program. Looking forward to talking to Todd as always. And then, of course, tomorrow night, make sure you catch After the Game with Todd Leary. You can find that on at Indiana Sports Beat, or actually thedailyhoosier.com as well. But you can sign up to just like if you already receive, if you're signed up for Indiana Sports Beat on any of the various venues, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts. Then, of course, IndianaSportsBeat.com. You can sign up as well as the Daily Hoosier, but you can sign up to have it sent to you. Well, that does it includes after the game with Todd Leary, so you don't have to worry about it. But you can also find us. We'll be going Facebook Live as well, probably via Indiana Sports Beat on Facebook, but pretty popular. People enjoy listening. Todd does a great job of breaking things down and explaining it to him, and it's the only interactive post-game show that there is.
And it includes a former player, so I think that his mindset as a former player is
a Final Four player.
Yeah, I mean it's a completely different mindset than anybody you're going to get doing a post-game show. So I think people really have been receptive to that.
Oh yeah, he just has such a unique ability to watch in depthly,
sure,
but explain it in a manner of which it's very understandable.
Sure.
It makes sense. So looking forward to doing that again. Hopefully it's a better result, but there's not even hardly really any hope for that. This is a game up in East Lansing against one of the best teams in the conference. Not a lot of hope to be had.
Josh Langford being out, does that do anything for you?
Nope. No, not at all, because I think Michigan State could beat Indiana with one arm behind their back. And that's basically what this would be. We can only hope. I mean, not from what I've seen. I'm not. You got to say what it is, and that's what it is. You've got to see until you see a change in the mindset. Not really counting on much. Super Bowl Sunday, man. The Super Bowl's here. How about that?
That's even crazier than it be in February.
Big Super Bowl commercial. That's the cat's already out of the bag now with the dude. Who's the dude?
Big Lebowski.
At least I've taught you that. Never seen the greatest movie ever, but
I have soaked some information in over the years.
You really ought to catch the movie. But yeah, there's apparently a big the dude. Oh, it turns out a lot of people don't really like it, especially Lebowski fans. It's a commercial for Stella Artois. And in the movie, the dude drinks White Russians. And he's in full regalia. Then you've got Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. And her Cosmopolitan, that she would always get. And both of them eschew their normal drinks for a Stella Artois.
Is it just me, or have Super Bowl commercials the last 3-4 years taken a big hit? They just have not been as funny.
Well, they had a high bar to reach, man. There was some great ones there for a while.
Yeah.
And that's always interesting. The funny thing is that how the Super Bowl has become such a thing that the commercials are scrutinized. The halftime show is scrutinized. And that's mainly because the games have sucked a lot of the times. Yeah. But not always. There's been some good ones. The Patriots coming back on Atlanta. That was a good one.
But even still, that
Except
game...
for I hated to see Patriots win.
Well, that game was in the third quarter. I wonder how many people had given up on that game by that time.
Yeah, but usually you're at a party, so
True.
Where a lot of people are, and you come back around. Trust me, word spreads. You come back around. Hit us up on the text line if you have got a comment, question, thought. 812-269-6367. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving Southern Indiana since 1995. Bringing to you this hour. We appreciate them. 812-944-5642. Give them a call. 812-944-5642. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, the best in the biz. Serving Southern Indiana since 1995. Homegrown company. I like that.
Shop local.
Keep her home. Keep her home. What are your big Super Bowl plans?
Mine?
Unless you got a mouse in your pocket.
Well, I do, but that's irrelevant. I really don't know. It's kind of crazy that we're 2 days out, and I really just have no idea what I'm going to do for the Super Bowl. I'm not really all that excited.
Me either. I haven't thought about it that much. I don't really got a lot going on.
It's weird that I'm not all that excited because I've been pretty invested in the NFL season as a whole. But yeah, I'm so over the whole Patriots deal.
There was a thing in the Indy Star about the Indiana All-Stars. You know, recently the All-American list came out. Keon Brooks was snubbed off of that list, wrongly so. But in the Indy Star, they had a piece and talking about who they think they might be, and there were some that they called locks, saying that an omission of any of the following 7 players would be a big surprise. All 7 were junior All-Stars last season, including 4 among the 6-member core group. First one listed, Kobe Barnes of Floyd Central. 6'6" Indiana State recruit. Should be a solid lock, averaging 24 points a game, almost 8 rebounds, and 2 assists for 4th-ranked Floyd Central. Shooting 54% from the field, 39% from three-point line. That's really helped him.
Yeah.
He's got almost 1,300 career points. Then you've got Amaron Franklin of Cathedral, of course. Alex Hemingway of Castle. Down in the Evansville area. Folks listening on the ref. He's a 6'3" Clemson recruit. He set Castle's career scoring record 3 weeks ago. He's heading towards 1,600 career points. He's averaging 28 points a game, man.
So I wonder how many Indiana high school players have went to Clemson throughout the years. It seems like a strange place to go.
But a good place right now.
Yeah.
You know, Evansville produces. I was talking about this yesterday with Dan Gursky. I started thinking, and talk about this again later, but Evansville may be from a per capita look advantage. They may be the hottest spot in, well, not the hottest, but outside of Indianapolis, the hottest spot in Indiana as far as producing over the years talent. They produced one of the greatest baseball players in the history of the game, Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Of course you didn't.
Oh, Scott Rowland came from close to down there as well. He came from Jasper, but same area.
Not really.
They're close.
Not really. I mean,
But they're the same county.
really? Really? You really ought to not. You ought to Google things before you talk about them. Du Bois County is not Warwick County or Vanderburgh County. They're not close. They're separated in between. But anyway, not only that, you've got Gabbert Cheney, all-time leading scorer for IU. The football program's amazing. Trace, how about getting back to the list, though? Trace Jackson Davis from Center Grove, of course, he'll be an all-star. John Michael Malloy from Carmel, he's heading to Butler, the big 6'9" Butler recruit. Brandon Newman, of course, Valparaiso, he's heading to Purdue. Isaiah Thompson from Zionsville. I don't think he's committed anywhere. Then they've got what they call the high bubble. Luke Bumbelow from Newcastle. I've seen him play last year when, up at the Classic they have, All-Star Classic they have up there. He's a Ball State recruit.
Great name, by the way.
Bumbelow.
I love it.
Sidney Curry from Fort Wayne Northrop. He had a 41-point, 17-rebound performance in a 91-82 loss to Marion on Saturday. Marion's pretty good. Marion has a kid. You may have heard of him. Jalen Blackman, or you may have heard of the family. His brother James and his father are both a member of the 1,800-point club. There's another member of that club from Marion, 3, which right now I think only 3 schools have or a couple schools have 3 that have done that. Unbelievably, Madison is one of them.
Huh.
Floyd Central is one of them. Marion is one of them. I think there's only like 4. But Marion is soon to be the first school with 4 players over 1,800 because Jalen Blackman just became the fastest player in the history of Indiana to reach 1,000. And he's a sophomore. He'll be there soon. He'll be there soon. He could get there this year for that matter. This is nuts. He will obliterate, with barring injury, he will obliterate Damon Bailey's scoring record. Not beat it, obliterate it.
Hot take.
Obliterate it. I'm not even saying beat it.
Does he go to Indiana? Is it that simple with him?
No, nothing is that simple anymore.
It seems like every Blackman has gone through Bloomington.
Well, except for Pops.
True.
You know where he went?
Kentucky, right?
Uh-huh. Absolutely. But, yeah, there's a lot of great players out there. Jared Hankins from Lawrence North. Jake LaRavia from Lawrence Central. And then on what they call their bubble list, Cam Alford from Brownsburg. Jesse Bingham from Warren Central. DeJuan Jones, my man DeJuan Jones from Ben Davis is 6'9" Jones. I saw a clip of him playing the other day. It's ridiculous.
Did you see him with his...
They can't stop this dude, man.
Did you see him with his Indiana jerseys on?
Yes, that was funny. Both of them.
Yeah.
Football and basketball.
Big man.
Got no hops, man. Dude's got no hops.
I did see him dunk a ball, though. So he's got a little bit of hops.
Well, he's 6'9". Or no, yeah.
You don't have to jump that high when you're 6'9".
And he's a big boy. Man, he's got a big butt. He's like, stick that on you, boom, you're out, you're gone. Your history. We got to take a break. We got a lot to get to today on the program. Todd Leary will be with us, of course, later in the next hour. We'll talk to Drew Davis. We'll talk to Nick Baumgart. We got a big day on tap. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back with a lot more right after this.
I know I ought to save it, but it's burning a hole right through my pocket and into my skin. Come Monday morning, I'll be broke.
This is Jim Coyle, but I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, You must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at IndianaSportsBeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving Southern Indiana since 1995. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. First day of February. Thanks a lot for joining us, wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along with you. Jim Coyle sitting in, Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box as always.
That's right.
Man, there's a heat wave coming. And it is a serious heat wave compared to what we've been experiencing here across the Hoosier land. It's going to warm up. It's already warmer right now than it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
It's nuts.
Even though it's snowing, which is weird.
Yeah, it was. But it's still only in the 20s. Got my hot water back yesterday.
Nice.
That was sweet. Hey, we've got tomorrow, if you live in the southern Indiana area, head over to Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Take in the Indiana-Michigan State game. That'll be at 6 o'clock. After the game, you can sit in with Todd Leary as the post-game, the only interactive IU post-game show after the game with Todd Leary. You can sit in with us live, like I said, at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, or you can catch, if not can't make it there, you can catch us on thedailyhoosier.com and a myriad of other places. The same places where you catch Indiana Sports Beat. You can meet Justin.
Come on.
He'll give you an autograph.
Nobody wants that.
I understand that, but I just thought I'd throw it out there.
I mean, you're not wrong. If somebody asks, I'll give them one, yeah.
But, yeah, you can meet Todd. Todd's very approachable. There were people taking pictures and autographs the other night, so pretty cool. But, yeah, looking forward to doing that. I'm not sure when we'll get back here with that after this show. But looking forward to that. And then Indiana taking on Michigan State tomorrow. You can catch that game, if you're not going to it, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1, 1450 in southern Indiana, Louisville. You could also catch it on the Ref, 97.7 in Evansville, amongst other places. But I'd start there. That's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. Ready for the Super Bowl this weekend. Who's your team? Who are you pulling for?
Got to be Rams.
Yeah, me too. I'm not a Patriots fan at all.
I'll jump on your team this week.
Go Rams. Something. Anybody but the Patriots.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't want them to win because they'll catch up to Pittsburgh.
Right. So and then they'll win next year when Tom Brady's 42 years old. It's ridiculous.
Not out of the question at all.
He could play. He could realistically play until he's 45.
Well, the way it looks right now, but here's what happens. And he's a little different, though. He keeps himself in unbelievable shape. And, yeah. But what happens when you get to that point, it's like it sustains, but when it drops, it's gone. It just drops like a rock.
That's true. Look at Peyton. I mean, he dealt with injuries, but...
Yeah, that was that neck injury that really... Serious neck injury, I guess, that got him. But, yeah, it's nuts. I mean, he's playing at the same level right now as he was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Maybe even 15 years ago.
If not better.
It's nuts. It is crazy. How about Arizona State over Arizona? Bobby Hurley. I just ever since the 30 for 30 on Christian Laettner, been a big Bobby Hurley fan.
Yeah. I could certainly understand that.
Oh, there was a story he was talking about, and basically it was explaining that Laettner was just a competitor. You know, everybody hate him. I don't, especially after that. I'm like, he's just a competitor. He didn't care. Like he didn't like. I know Kentucky, hates him. He didn't care about Kentucky any more than he cared about Ben Davis High School. Doesn't matter. He's just competing. And Hurley was telling a story about one day that Laettner would always, when they put the ball in bounds, not always, but he would put it in bounds to him, but leave it short to make him come back and get the ball. He said he would do it on purpose. He said, and one day in practice, he did something, and Hurley throws a ball right at his head and hits him in the head. And he said he was sprinting towards the door before it even hit him. And he said he was chasing him, and he was for real. He goes, no, I wouldn't let him catch me.
Indiana needs them, Bobby Hurley.
Oh, well, yes, they do. Oh, my God. Hurley's one of them tough Northeastern punks. He was in the movie Blue Chips, played for the Indiana team on there, that was crazy. In the movie Blue Chips, Indiana, coached by Bob Knight, is ranked number 1 in the country at the time. They're taking on the what was it? They're the Bulls or the Dolphins? The name of the Western University Dolphins, I think. And yeah, and to see Bobby Hurley in an IU uniform, that was kind of funny. But that's a good old sit down rainy day movie to watch, man. It's funny. Matt Nover in there.
Yeah, Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Western University Dolphins. What was the coach's name? Nick Nolte?
Yep.
I know that's his real name.
Oh.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I can't find it.
But it's fun to watch. That's just, when that thing comes on
Pete
every
Bell.
now and then. Pete Bell. That was a good movie. I mean, I remember when he was studying for that role, he shadowed Bob Knight. He was at games. I got my picture taken with him, with Nick Nolte. But yeah, he shadowed Bob Knight, and he was Bob Knight in that movie. And I like when he punted the ball. Todd Leary was talking about that last week. He goes, it's time. He goes, it's time to punt the ball. He said if he would have punted it into the stands, I would have loved it. That probably would have got him suspended, but you can't do that stuff anymore. That's what's sad. It really is. I mean, the stuff where nobody gets hurt, I think is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you kick a ball in the stands, there's obviously a chance for somebody to get hurt.
How the hell are you going to get hurt by a basketball?
If some little kid's not paying attention,
what's he going to do? What's he going to do? What's a basketball going to do that's from that far away? It's going to have no velocity on it by the time it gets there. I mean, it's not going to. It's going to scare you. It's going to scare you.
I mean, if it's kicked in the air and it's coming down.
If all that's going on, who in the hell is not going to be watching that show?
Well, at the same time, who in the hell wants to deal with a lawsuit like that? So better off just get it out of here.
Get off my lawn.
I don't like it any more than you.
Get off my lawn.
I would love to see the fun stuff too, but I mean,
again, no. But the point here is, who's going to get hurt? You said they're not going to get hurt by basketball. Get out of here with that.
I mean, it's not very realistic, but it
No,
can
it's
certainly
not.
happen.
Well, yes, if everyone stood still and some little kid puts his hands behind his back and stares at the ball, lets him hit him in the head, maybe.
My grumpy old man.
I'm telling you. But yeah, even when Bob Knight threw the chair, he didn't.
That could have been a situation too, though.
Oh, he scooted it across the floor. Give me a break. Again, who the hell's not watching somebody toss a chair?
Right.
Who did not see the chair coming?
And it was slowing down pretty good by the time I got over there.
Yeah. Now the one thing is, yeah, but still funny. Still funny. Even the old days in baseball, Lou Piniella would go out and pulling the baseball out of the ground, throwing the baseball, kicking dirt on umpires.
Oh yeah,
kicking dirt on umpires. That's the. I wish who came up with that one. The manager starts kicking dirt on. I mean, how do you think of that? I'm gonna kick dirt on you because I can't do anything else.
I think of all the shenanigans you see coaches do across sports, I think baseball managers are probably the best.
Oh, they're the greatest.
When they go crazy, it's absolutely fantastic.
And the players, they go to the dugout. All the bubble gum's flying everywhere. The coolers are flying everywhere. The Gatorade's flying everywhere. Pulling the bats out of the things. Throwing helmets. I like it. I love it when you get the ones where they go nuts and they're clearing the dugout out. Everything that's in the dugout is coming out.
You don't want to come back and do it later after the game.
That's some fun times, man. I mean, if nobody gets hurt, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hilarious. As long as, and most of the time that's the case. Oh, I saw a clip. Speaking of baseball, I watched a clip the other day where an umpire was mic'd up. It was great. And it was a hell of an argument. And boy, I mean, and it was full on. They didn't bleep. It was not edited. You could hear the manager. I mean, it was this entire conversation. And the umpire was a jewel. He was gold. He handled it. Google mic'd up umpires. I don't mean right now. Can't play it on the air. Trust me, can't play it on the air. But it was great to see that because it really gives you an understanding of what's going on out there, of what's being said. And it's funny. I mean, I think it's funny.
I personally love the mic'd up situations. I mean, especially when it's an athlete or a referee or coach. I mean, you don't always get that insight. There was a game, what was it? Who'd the Patriots play last week? The Chiefs. Some guy on their team was mic'd up, and he goes over to the bench and tells his teammate, he's like, man, he is really good. I cannot sack him because he gets the ball out too fast. And they're just sitting there talking about how great they think Tom Brady is, a member of the opposite team. So you get moments like that when athletes are mic'd up or coaches or umps, and it makes for a good watch.
Well, absolutely. Last night, how about the Penn State-Purdue game? Did it go to overtime, or was that the regulation score?
I think that was just regulation.
What a high-scoring game.
No, it did go to overtime.
I was going to say.
So Purdue outscored them by 9 in overtime.
Yeah, but how about the fact that Penn State took Purdue to overtime?
Sure.
Where was that game played?
Penn State.
Ooh, see, that's a win that Purdue cannot afford to lose in regards to keeping their hopes for as high a seed in the tournament as possible.
Carson Edwards, 38 points.
Really? Wow, nice night for him.
8 of 15 from 3. He hit more threes last night than Indiana's hit in the last 3 games.
That's just ridiculous. It really is. I mean, they just... Indiana's got to decide that they have some pride and that they're going to play. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing people complain about the coach and this and that. Just play the game, guys. Play the game. Play like your hair's on fire and let the chips fall where they may. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Thoughts, comments, questions. Questions for Todd Leary on the show today, you can do that. Or for Drew Davis. Nick Baumgart, we're going to talk some analytics, some numbers. Plenty to talk about today. We got to take a break. We'll be back with all that and more right here on Indiana Sports Beat right after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat on this first day of February. Thanks a lot for joining us wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle in with you, sitting in as always. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Looking forward to the program today. Todd Leary's on the show, as he is each and every week. We're going to be talking to Drew Davis as well, get us caught up on some recruiting news. Nick Baumgart will join us, so plenty to get to. Hit us up on the text line, any thoughts or questions, 812-269-6367. You know, make sure to like or follow us on Facebook, Indiana Sports Beat. You can sign up to make sure you never miss a beat with Indiana Sports Beat at any of the podcast locations for the replay. Apple Podcast, Apple Play, iTunes, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, thedailyhoosier.com. You can sign up as well. So make sure you never miss out. And that also includes After the Game with Todd Leary, which tomorrow night's the next broadcast. We'll be live at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, Indiana. So if you can get there, come out, taking the show on the road. We'll be doing the post game after the Michigan State-Indiana game. I think that game's at 6 o'clock on ESPN. You can listen to that game on radio. Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 in southern Indiana near Louisville. You can also hear it on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville, ESPN. Check them all out if you can. That's how you listen to Don Fisher. Pre-game comes on an hour before tip, so an hour before game, and the game is 6 o'clock Eastern time. A game that I'd see no chance in hell for Indiana to win. I'm not even worried about them winning. I'm wondering about them competing.
Yeah.
Can they, will they compete in this game?
See, like with them winning, I just can't fathom that they compete in this game. I mean, that's how bad it has been lately. The 7 straight losses, they haven't competed. Well, I can't say they haven't. I mean, they've competed in a couple of the games, at least for a small spurt of time. But for them to go in and compete at Michigan State, I just cannot fathom that happening.
I agree. It's not going to.
Josh Langford or not.
My concern is, so that's going to extend the losing streak to 8 unless something unbelievably crazy happens. I hope they can break this. You know, someone asked online yesterday what the longest losing streak was, and I had to look it up. I assumed it was during the 6-25 Tom Crean initial season, which it was. He actually has the first and the second, unfortunately, but I guess fortunately, because at least had he not gotten, they lost 11 in a row, and then they somehow managed to beat Iowa. How'd you like to beat Iowa? I was the only team that they beat that year in Big Ten play. And after 11 losses, they knock off Iowa, and then they lose 10 more. So the losing streak record is 11-10, both set in that same season, just had a little win in between.
So you're telling me that team started out, 6-2 or 6-3? 5-3.
Probably, yeah, because remember they didn't play anybody during the conference. When they're off, out of non-conference games during the Tom Crean era, they were probably playing Evansville Rights or Floyd Central or someone. They played a very
it was a weak
schedule. Not that those teams are weak, except for they would be when you're playing a Division I team. But that's when that was set. Just to answer that question. But let's hope that does not come about. But it's a distinct possibility because they're in that area right now, and these are two different teams, man. Way, way different. That team had nobody. That team had 2 scholarship players they started with?
Well, technically more, but scholarship players that would have normally gotten a scholarship to Indiana.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, maybe 2.
He hadn't even gotten up to the Tim Priller era yet. That was a joke.
That was Tijon Job back in the day.
Our good friend John Bowl. We understand he's with Wave 3 News in Louisville. He's usually with us joins us on Mondays a lot. I'm not sure if he's going to be with us again because we saw today's his last day at Wave, and I did not know that. But if I have to guess, and until I talk to him, I'll find out. But I know he has grandchildren up in Wisconsin. He's from Wisconsin. He has grandkids in Wisconsin now. His parents are in Wisconsin. If I'm betting man, and I am, I'm betting he's going back to Wisconsin or close to it, closer to it at least. But that would be unbelievable. He's been in that market for a long time.
Long time.
He is a part of the fabric. One of the great investigative reporters of all time. He's won like 90 Emmys. Dang it, we were going to get the next one.
Right?
Gee whiz.
I don't know why we still can't.
I agree. Craziness. Hey, coming up on the show today, as I've said, Todd Leary will be joining us. Any comments or questions you have for him, you can hit up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Nick Baumgart's going to join us. Drew Davis will join us. Talk about some recruiting news. Anything else you'd like to talk about? What are the big games this weekend in high school? A lot of changes have been going on. Cancellations. I know that I saw that Bedford they moved Floyd Central Bedford maybe over in the Hoosier Hills Conference. They had to move a game because Bedford missed school. And their school policy is that if school's out, no games, which is nuts to me. Their athletics director ought to be given the ability to override that in certain extenuating circumstances. What if there's a water main break one morning of the sectional championship game or something? They can't play in it. Really? That's ridiculous. But
they're going to play tonight.
Yes, but now that interferes with the girls' sectional.
Sure.
That's what the issue was.
Bedford and Floyd Central, low-key, a really good game tonight. Both of them 3-1 in Hoosier Hills Conference play. Jeffersonville also 3-1 in Hoosier Hills. Should be a fun one.
Who plays Jeffersonville?
I don't know who Jeff plays, but...
What did you just say about Jeffersonville?
They're tied with Bedford and Floyd Central on top Hoosier Hills.
Gotcha. But Floyd Central lost to Jeffersonville.
Yeah.
Jeffersonville lost to Bedford. So if Floyd Central beats Bedford that would knock Bedford one more loss. So that would be Jeff and Floyd tied, but Floyd would have the head-to-head. I don't know how they do that. But.
Could get crazy.
Yeah, you got a lot going on all over the place. But there are a lot of big games. What are some of the big games out in the state this weekend?
I'm looking at some of them right now. Not a whole lot. Mount Vernon, Noblesville, I guess, is going to be an okay game. You got Pike and Franklin Central, Plainfield, Terre Haute South. Not a whole lot.
Nothing big jumping off.
Garin Catholic North Central should be fun.
That's where our good friend Mitchell Page went.
Garin?
He's a Garin guy. Absolutely. But Indiana has to travel to East Lansing this weekend. And good Lord, I'd like to know what the mindset is. I'd like to be in the locker room for like 15 minutes just to sit and watch and observe and listen to the body language to see where these guys really are, because nobody knows outside, and that's access that very few people get. So it's hard to tell, but obviously it's not the most joyous place in the world right now, it seems to me. And that's a problem. I mean, you got to be happy in some regard, or it's just, or you just can't elevate yourself, I don't think.
Well, and that's the thing. I was trying to make this point yesterday. I don't know that it came across that way, but you're playing a game that you've played your whole life, a game that has made you happy your whole life. Now, all of a sudden, you come in to D1 College and Indiana University, and it's like they're not enjoying the game anymore. anymore. It has now gone from a game they used to love to play to work, and that's somewhat of an issue, I think. I mean, they've got to break down those walls of seeing it as work and get back to having fun playing the game that they played so much as a young kid growing up. I mean, basketball's made it. You're supposed to have fun doing it.
Well, anything.
Right.
Sports, period. I mean, that's what
exactly.
It's a competition, of course, and competing is what you do. But it's got to be. If it's not fun, then what is it? What's the point? If you're not being paid for it, it's not a job at that level. It's for the love of the game. But it doesn't seem like that's there. And I get it. When you lose in 7 games, it's not a lot to be happy about.
But, I mean, they were this way before the losing streak even started.
Exactly. It's not. This is how it's been the whole time. It just is really amplified right now. Really amplified. And it's unusual. It's just a little unusual. And that's saying something coming from Indiana, because Indiana's always been a conservative. I mean, you go back to the Bob Knight years, you definitely were not going to see a lot from players, but you would see emotion. I mean, Bob Knight wouldn't allow things that brought attention to yourself, but being emotional is different. I can't imagine any coach not allowing that. I mean, you players, they have to have that. You thrive on that. It drives you. It elevates you. It elevates others. And it's not there. And it's to me, it's a huge, huge problem. In my opinion, it's absolutely a problem.
Among many.
Well, absolutely among many. But I think that something has to be the starting point. I truly believe if you could get one thing turned around, it would help in many other ways.
We've heard Archie mention it a couple of times, what a win would do for this team. What would a win truly do for Indiana?
Confidence, number one. Huge confidence. Hopefully get Hoosier Nation off their back a little bit. That's not fair to say really either. It's not really Hoosier Nation. It's just the idiots that don't know what they're talking about, that just have a platform that everyone else has. It's just they can be as loud as they want to be. But confidence. No, nothing bigger than that. Nothing more important than the confidence they would gain from that, because right now they're just defeated. They are mentally defeated, and they've got to rise up. They're young, and these guys are not used to this. Romeo Langford's not used to losing. Rob Fennessy's not used to losing. I doubt Demezy Anderson is used to losing. I doubt any of these guys are used to losing. They were all great players, good players. But that's where they are now, and they have to learn how to handle it. And they have to learn how to not only handle it, but use it to channel it to try to turn it around, I think. I think we have some Archie sound.
Yeah, we do.
What he was...
Yeah, he was talking yesterday after the game about this team's margin of error and how it just doesn't have a whole lot of margin for error. Let's hear what he had to say.
I mean, we don't have a lot of room for error. We have I think 6 scholarship players out in practice right now. You have 2 juniors who have played 2 years in the Big Ten who aren't part of what we're doing the whole month, pretty much in January. And we got some young guys out there that are having to play some extended minutes, which will benefit them in time. But you can't make any excuses. It's like I told them before the game. This same team found a way to grind some things out in November and December when it wasn't pretty either. So at some level, yeah, I think it's confidence a little bit. I think it's fatigue a little bit. But hopefully we can find a way to continue to just be ourselves and kind of stay with it right here. But our lack of shooting and our inability to continue to score is something that's been problematic. You can't be perfect on every possession defensively. And we had some bad possessions offensively early in that second half that gave them turnovers, that gave them baskets. But we are who we are. Hopefully it each day we get a guy back, or each game maybe we get two guys back. I'm not real sure, but what we have is what we have, and those guys got to understand they got to bring it, and it's up to our staff. Like I told them, we all got to be better right now.
Coach Archie Miller talking about his team and what they need to do. Part of what they need to do.
There's a lot they need to do.
Yeah, there is, and a lot of people are using this as a gauge already. Just stop. Yeah, that's you got to let that go.
Yeah.
We got a lot to get to on the program today. Todd Leary's on the show. Coming up the next hour, we're going to talk to Nick Baumgartz and Drew Davis from Pigs.com. We've got plenty to get to. Thanks a lot. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle coming right back after this.
Rip your lungs out, Jim. I'd like to meet this Taylor.
This is Jim Coyle, but I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
And everybody, welcome in on this first day of February to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Jim Coyle sitting in with you as always. Justin Kalen high atop the Crew Chiefs box.
That's right.
Hope your week's been great and you're ready for the weekend. We got plenty to get to and a great show for you today. Todd Leary's on the program. He'll be with us in addition to Drew Davis from Peegs.com. Nick Baumgart's going to join us. Got a lot to talk about. Before we get to that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this first day of February 2019. Indiana women's basketball falls at Rutgers last night 69-64. In the lone Big Ten game last night, Purdue wins at Penn State in overtime 99-90. Huge trade in the NBA as the Knicks send Kristaps Porzingis to the Dallas Mavericks for DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and Dennis Smith Jr., and IU tries to snap their 7-game losing streak at 6 o'clock tomorrow night as they travel to East Lansing to take on Michigan State. Those are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this first day of February 2019. For more information, make sure to go to thedailyhoosier.com.
And thanks a lot. Thanks again for joining us wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along with you. Jim Coyle sitting in as always. Great to be on with the good folks at 97.7 The Ref. Always the right call, of course. Of course, we're always on WXVW, Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1, Southern Indiana, Louisville. Great Indiana places. A lot to get to. That trade yesterday, a big blockbuster trade you just mentioned, Porzingis from the Knicks, among others, but he had come out and demanded a trade, unlike your boy down at Anthony Davis, who was fined $50,000 for tampering with himself, I guess, right?
Right.
Kind of funny.
You know what $50,000 was to Anthony Davis in terms of what he's making this year?
Bring me a paper towel, please.
0.2% of the salary.
Bring me a paper towel, please. I was going to blow my nose, and that's it. That's $50,000 to him. Chump change, man. It's chump change. Nothing. That's not even per diem. That may be breakfast for his assistant. Yeah. Purdue, man, pushed to the brink last night at Penn State. Pulled that out in overtime. Big scorer, though, 99-90. Carson Edwards. Dude went off. He's lighting it up, but he's getting help from a supporting cast, and that's a big problem for Indiana. People are talking about Romeo's not performing to standards. Well, funny because he's still averaging 20 points a game. Yeah. So if he was doing more, he would be what, averaging 30 points a game? Okay, that just makes you the best player in America. Just kind of funny. But Indiana not getting the help from the supporting cast, as Carson Edwards is, and that makes a huge difference. Indiana has to travel to East Lansing. They'll take it on Michigan State tomorrow at 6 Eastern Time. If you listen to the games on air, which you can, right on Big X Sports Radio and The Ref. Don Fisher on the call. Pregame starts an hour before tip. Now, that game's being broadcast on ESPN, which Indiana's usually on either the Big Ten Network or
Fox Sports 1.
Fox Sports. Yeah, Fox and the Big Ten have a relationship. But, it's not – haven't been on ESPN a lot lately. And and I saw a mention yesterday that someone was like, how the hell did ESPN pick Indiana and Michigan State over Louisville, North Carolina? Because it's Indiana and Michigan State. Just kidding.
That's a good question, though.
Well, because in what's usually a lot of that stuff can be changed, but I'll tell you why. As much as a month ago, that looked like a great game. Yeah. A month ago, that looked like can't miss TV. A month ago, Indiana was 12-2. Number 2 in the country in the 2-point field goal shooting at 53%. A month ago, fast forward, not so much.
Can we go back to a month ago?
My question is Indiana right now the worst team in the Big Ten?
I don't know if you can realistically say they're the worst team in the Big Ten.
Why? Tell me why. Tell me why you cannot.
Just because there's one team, Penn State does not have a win in conference.
Okay.
That's the only team I can see worse than Indiana. But they haven't won. Indiana's not better than a lot of people.
Nope. But they're better than Penn State.
I agree.
They're not the worst team. Are they the second worst?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, if you want to be truthful and honest, and that's what we do here, we speak the truth, baby. They lost to Rutgers. Now, they have yet to play Illinois, and I believe they get them in both places. But they lost at Illinois last year, strictly because they couldn't hit free throws. And Illinois is a team on the rise. Underwood's doing a good job over there. He's landing some recruits. He's got a 5-star coming in. How the hell do you do that? When you're the worst team in the conference, and Illinois has been one of, along with Rutgers and Penn State, but they're recruiting. They got some good recruits in, and they're competing. They're not winning a lot of games yet, but they're competing.
Indiana, by the way, does not get Illinois at home. They only play them on the road.
Wow, they played them on the road last year. They're going to be, and that's another thing right now. Teams like Illinois that are fighting to get up, that are fighting to climb out of that cellar, they are looking at Indiana like a battered, wounded animal. Red meat. They're fresh blood. Everybody is seeing Indiana like that right now, and they're going to take their shot to extract their pound of flesh while Indiana's down. And some teams have done a good job of it. Understand, we've got Nick Baumgart with us now. Nick, how are you, sir?
Hey, buddy, we're getting things ready for you, man, in Evansville.
Oh, we're rolling. Hoping everything's going well.
We ran out of donuts already. So.
Do you eat them all?
Yeah, a dozen Long Johns.
Man, you're too.
No, I'm just kidding. I just woke up myself, actually.
Well,
what's going on, guys? How are you?
We're up and at it and killing it, and just talking about Indiana now having to travel to East Lansing to take on the Spartans. But man, you work with a lot of numbers and a lot of your posts, you have a lot of great information out there, and the numbers generally just don't lie. And in Indiana's case, they don't. I mean, you can look at them, I think, and see how a change that's come about in them, and the defense of what they were allowing, what they are allowing, and what are some of the things that jumps out most to you from that standpoint?
I just think how it's just crashed and burned on both sides. You don't usually see. Usually when a team struggles, they struggle on one end, and so they just can't. They can't play two halves of a whole game of two halves. But this has been, everything's been bad. I mean, if you look at the numbers going back, just going off KenPom, it was just like a nosedive right around January 10th, or I'd have to look exactly. January 9th, I think was the. It's just when I fell off a cliff. So I don't know. It's and that's the thing I said on Twitter. I said, look, it's not the losses, man. I mean, I can take losses. Who can, whatever. It's how it was going down, how it happened. That's what's got me kind of like alarmed, because it's. So I don't know. You hope for the best, obviously, but. If you have to be honest, people say, well, what do you think really? Well, really, I don't know.
It's been the weirdest thing, and one of the things I've talked about a lot, is the fact that this team is almost robotic. They are devoid of emotion, which a lot of times that's great when it comes to crunch time and making decisions. If you're able to keep a very even-keeled demeanor, that's going to serve you well. But there are also times where you need to get fired up, whether it's get pissed off or happy, it doesn't matter. Either extreme can be helpful. You've got to elevate yourself, your game, and those around you. Get excited. Give them a high five. Grab somebody. Slap them on the butt. Do anything. Don't see any of that from this team. They are just so going about it and going through every motion, and there's just no emotion.
Yeah, and there's nobody really taking over. I love Juwan to death, and I'm sure he's a great leader on the team. I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm saying, the things you look for as far as, actions on the floor and stuff. They've kind of taken on the personality of their leaders. It's kind of Romeo's it's kind of how he does. It's the way he rolls. So,
And that brings up a good point, and actually a question. Someone like Romeo, who is an unbelievable talent, and if anyone thinks otherwise, they just are not very intelligent. That's just all there is to that. This kid is talented, and his demeanor is what it is. And I'm not cracking on it or anything, because you can't. You are who you are. And again, he's going to be able to make decisions at a crunch time where I couldn't make, because I'm going to be all over the place. But
he scored 3,000 something points.
Exactly.
That's incredibly hard to do.
But at some point, when you are that type of player, I would think that it has to fall on you to be a leader of some sort. If you're leading the team, leadership role is going to fall on to you whether you want it or not. And of course, I'm not saying that he needs to be leading this team. He's a freshman. But he is one of the leaders of this team, and I think that it's time, this late in the season, it's time to start stepping up and being a leader. But to his defense, you should have someone leading you, teaching you how to do that. I don't see that. And I say that falls to Juwan Morgan. And I don't think that he's doing a good enough job leading this team personally. There's your hot take for you. I don't think Juwan Morgan is doing a good enough team leading this team on the court, because no one else is doing it, and it's up to somebody to step up and do it. He is the de facto leader, and so therefore I'd say, to me, it falls on his shoulders, and it falls on his shoulders to lead people like Romeo and Rob Phinisee, who's going to be in Indiana next year. I don't see that happening right now, and I think it's impacting this team immensely.
Well, I agree, and I take it one step further, and this is what my point was on. I've been nothing but supportive of Archie, and I still am. We've got years still, and they could turn it around tomorrow. They could, but my point is that if you're the head coach, some of those things that are going on the floor, that falls back on you. I mean, that's your team. And I cannot believe that Archie wouldn't feel the same way if he's not going to tell anybody that, but deep down he's there's certain things you can't do, but like allowing Justin Smith to continue to shoot threes,
that's another
you only lost by 8 points, and that's 3 or 4 possessions.
Well, that's another thing. Why are they shooting? If Archie has said we're not a good 3-point shooting team, but yet they're still putting up 20 a game. Why are you cracking it? Why are you cranking it up 20 times a game and you're hitting 3 of them when you have a much higher percentage at 2-point shots, especially because they're coming around the rim? Why not? I know you cannot just focus on one area, because if that the defense will just suck in and pack it in, which is what they've been doing against Indiana, which has been giving them problems because they don't have a perimeter game. But not jacking it up 20, 25 times a game is not helping them, because that's just given, to me, that's 18 turnovers.
Well, the other thing is, I think, if you look, Archie just his philosophy isn't to go to the offensive boards. He believes more in getting back and getting your defense set, and so they're not getting second chances, and so they're really bad shooting, and they're not getting any second chances. Whereas with Tom Crean, they were such good shooters, and they got second chances and third chances that it kind of covered up some of the flaws. And in this case, this team, with the injuries and just with not being very good, this is interesting though, Jim. Looking at Archie's system, somebody brought this up on Twitter. It'll be interesting going forward if he what changes and adjustments he makes to his system. The system's a little bit, a little archaic as far as the style of basketball goes. people are going to use this against him. They're going to say, look what he did to Romeo. So it's not good. It's just not good on a lot of fronts. But, I mean, if you don't think that there's negative recruiting, I mean, I guarantee you this was already used it on somebody. So.
Yeah, but we're just talking about Illinois. They're a perfect example. They've been a cellar dweller for quite some time, but Underwood's doing a good job over their recruiting. He just got in landed a 5-star, and they've elevated their play. They're competitive. They're still in the bottom of the Big Ten, but they're competitive, and they're doing some recruiting. I don't think that it's going to hurt recruiting like people think that it will. I think they get Keon Brooks, and if you get Keon Brooks and Trace Jackson, then that's going to alleviate any concerns about recruiting. But now, if they were not to get Brooks, now you've got pause to be concerned, and we'll see. But I don't think that happens, but that's yet to be seen.
Well, I'm not going to say it's going to affect anything. I'm just saying that it just gives these guys ammo, out when they're out there, making their pitch, and so it's dirty. So, but anyway, I mean, that's not the least of the concerns. But it's just, it's just. I don't know. It came out of nowhere, too, really. And that's the other thing. Rob Douster, I think he's the NBC sports guy, he said, well, this just goes to show you that, Indiana wasn't as good as Indiana fans expected them to be, and they're just as good as we thought they were going to be. They're not very. And that's so.
There's some truth to that.
Yeah, but that's too simplistic. I mean, there's so many things that went into this season. I mean, So everybody expected that Romeo would shoot 20% from three.
No, there's a lot of things people didn't expect, but
Tennessee was taken off and got the concussion. I mean, nobody saw that. Nobody saw Fitzner shooting 12% below his career average from three. I mean, what happened there? What happened to him?
That's a great question. I mean, he was brought in for one reason only, but. Thanks a lot for joining us today, Nick, and thanks a lot for welcoming us into Evansville on the Ref, brother. We appreciate it. Looking forward to it. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you again soon. We'll be back with more here on Indiana Sports Beat. Todd Leary's on the program. Drew Davis from Peaks.com is going to join us as well. Plenty more. Stay tuned. We're back right after this.
I know I ought to save it, but it's burning a hole right through my pocket and into my skin. Come on.
This is Jim Coyle, and I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area, or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, You must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
You get a shiver in the dark.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this first day of February. Thanks a lot for joining us. Jim Coyle sitting in with you as always. Joined now by our good friend Drew Davis from Peegs.com. Drew, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
We're rolling. We're rolling. Just everybody waiting to see what is going to happen with Keon Brooks. Decision where he's going to attend college. A lot of people speculating with Indiana's troubles that maybe they're losing a little bit of their grip. But I don't see that's going to have that effect. But I don't know. I'm not on the inside on that deal. What's your personal thought on that with the troubles Indiana's having right now? Is that going to affect recruiting?
I think that's kind of overblown, to be honest. In recruiting, a lot of times people make a much bigger deal about recent results than is actually the case. And, a lot of times with recruits, what people overlook is the fact that they're not, watching a ton of, college basketball. And that's something to take into account. And, they might watch a game here and there, but they're not watching, every single one of them.
Yeah, but in Indiana's case, it's so talked about so much with Hoosier Nation and the social media blowing up here of late. It's be almost impossible to escape that. Well, you've already seen Trace Jackson Davis have to come out and make his own statement on social media saying that there's been rumors about me wanting to get out and do this, and he goes, "It's crap." So you had a recruit coming out and doing that. So, but whether or not it actually affects recruiting, I think it affects the fans. The fans that thinks that it does this. But I agree with you. I don't think these guys pay nearly as much attention to this stuff as what people think they do.
No, and here's a perfect example though. You look at a guy like Cody Zeller, who took many visits to Indiana and saw them got beat many times. And if recent results were a big deal in his recruitment, I don't think he would have ended up at Indiana.
Yeah, I think this is more of an opportunity for those guys to think that, all right, if Keon, Trace, we're going to be the guys. We're going to go in there. We're going to change the culture. We're going to change what's going on there. And I think that they looked at that as a challenge and a badge of honor that they could do that and be the guy.
Right. And, you look at the opportunity to kind of go into, Bloomington and to turn, Indiana around and be the guy that, kind of brings Indiana back. That certainly has to be something that, looks attractive to people. And, with all the shots available, that's certainly on the table.
And there's I saw a piece in the Indy Star in regards to the upcoming All-Star game or All-Star team this summer, and it was talking about certain guys that they think that are locks, and it brought up the recent McDonald's All-American selection list that excluded Keon Brooks, which was a huge snub. I'm really disappointed that he was left off that list. It wasn't fair to him because he was, to me, definitely one of the top players and should have made that list.
Most definitely, and I still think it's a little ridiculous that he wasn't on the list, as good as he's played this year, and he's answered, every question that anyone could have had. He's led the number one team in the country in scoring. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what more the McDonald's, committee could have asked out of him, and it is what it is, and Keon's the type of kid that something like that he's going to use as fuel to his fire. But, it's still very unfortunate.
And in this Indy Star piece that I was talking about, they talked about some of the guys that they think are locks, like Kobe Barnes from Floyd Central. That would be shocking if he was left off that list. He's a 6'6" Indiana State recruit, averaging over 24 points a game, and he was on the junior All-Star team last year. His team's ranked 4th in the country. They've been playing really well for the last couple of years. You got Armand Franklin, Alex Hemway from Castle, Clemson recruit, man. And Justin brought up earlier, he goes, Clemson's kind of a unique place for someone to be drawn out of here. How many players from the area have ever played for Clemson? Has that happened to you in your memory?
I'm not sure on that, to be honest. But if you look at Clemson, they have the connection to Evansville with Coach Brunell. He went to Evansville Harrison. And so he's from the city, and then you have Marty Simmons, the former U of E coach, is an assistant. So the ties to Evansville there. That's obviously a big reason why they were able to break in and get Alex Hemingway. And some schools weren't sure on Alex at times, and Clemson wanted him, but that Evansville connection definitely helped them.
Absolutely. Some big games coming up this weekend. But and talking about the recruitment of Keon Brooks, every time we talk, it's like anything new. And I've not heard anything new, but it's got to be coming down to we're getting close. We're in February now. And so I would think that if it's not going to be imminent, then is he going to wait till the season's over now?
I've always said that I would be surprised if it does go past February, but I think what people around Keon are telling him is, you don't know, don't rush into the decision, and they're telling him, well, like I said, you don't have to box yourself into that window to make your decision by the, into January, like people were telling him, because, there's no incentive to do it earlier than later, because at the end of the day, you can't sign until, April or May.
I'm sure that Indiana would sure like to hear their name called just for...
most definitely.
and they would love for this to happen sooner rather than later. But since he's not making an announcement yet, does this hurt Indiana's chances the longer this goes without it being announced?
No, I don't think it plays any role in Indiana's chances. You look at Romeo last year. Many people were freaking out. If he wanted to go to Indiana, he would have committed by now. And I heard that a lot. But in all reality, at the end of the day, Romeo Langford still ended up in Bloomington. I think that's something that fans will talk themselves into that isn't necessarily as big of a factor as people think.
Well, I'm sure the fans certainly hope not, but they certainly have worked themselves up into a Twitter. But also, are the fans hurting themselves? I know that it doesn't really have the effect, but fans, to me, they're hurting themselves. They're hurting the teams when they sit there and act the way they do on social media. It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it certainly isn't a good look by any means. I don't think it just completely hurts you. I don't think it's that big of a factor, for a kid. I don't think it's going to be a deciding factor in any recruitment. But it certainly doesn't help you when your fan base, is making, ridiculous comments and, showing their bad side on social media. But like I said, I don't think that's going to be a deciding factor. But is it helpful? No, not at all.
What's in the plans for Drew Davis this weekend? I'm sure you're always off watching some potential great talent play. What do we got going this weekend?
It's an interesting weekend. There's the teams are playing on Thursday night this week for boys high school basketball due to the girls postseason approaching. So not too many games on the Friday slate. So won't have as many opportunities to see anyone that I need to see. But Saturday, I think I'm going to go watch 5-star Christian Lander.
Yeah, Evansville Rights. Who are they playing?
They'll be playing South Knox, so it's a little short trip for me. But, it'd just be a good opportunity to, see Christian this month and see what he's been working on over the last couple of weeks.
Excellent. Look forward to it. Drew Davis, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you, sir. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Drew Davis and Peaks.com.
All right, sounds good, man. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you next week.
Look forward to it, buddy. You as well. Drew Davis and Peaks.com joining us. Lots of great games this weekend. I think tonight also, Floyd Central, I talked about this earlier, Bedford in the Hoosier Hills Conference in southern Indiana. A big game because they're at the top of their conference standings, tied. And that's a game that was moved from last night, I believe, to tonight because Bedford was out of school yesterday. But that's a huge, huge game in high school. You got number 3 ranked Floyd Central and Kobe Barnes. We talked about him earlier being a potential Indiana All-Star. That game's on WXVW, Big X Sports Radio, by the way, 1450 96.1 in southern Indiana. You can hear that. So make sure you tune into that. We've got a lot more coming up on the program today. Todd Leary is with us as he is each and every week. Can't wait to talk to him. We're back with more on Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I want to get lost in your rock and roll and drift away.
This is Jim Coyle, but I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day.
Hey, this is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat.
Visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks
This is
Roofing
Jim Coyle with
probably
Indiana
working
Sports
in your
Beat.
And I'm Justin
neighborhood
Kalen
right
with
now.
Indiana
Visit
Sports
Brooks
Beat.
Roofing,
Justin, what's your favorite show?
or
It's got to be
call
Indiana
812
Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
For over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat on this first day of February. Thanks a lot for joining us. Joined now by our good friend Todd Leary. That's Todd with one D.
I wish.
Oh, it's an inside joke. We've been talking about that last week after the game with Todd Leary. We were typing it in. You made the comment that he liked what's his name is spelled with one D, so that's how I've been spelling it ever since then. How's your week been, man?
No, it's been good. Other than that Wednesday setback that we had, my week's been decent.
Setback is certainly a way of describing it, and if that's a setback, I'm almost afraid of what could happen tomorrow up in East Lansing.
Well, if they ever had a situation where there was no pressure and they could play as loose as possible, this is probably it. Because no one expects them to win, and they may even be to the point where they're not expecting themselves to win, or they know how difficult at least it's going to be. So, if you ever played loose and had nothing to lose, this would be it.
Joined by a former Hoosier great, Todd Leary. Todd, but what's the likelihood of that translating and trickling down to them and their thoughts and their mental ready preparedness for the game that there's no pressure? They've got to be feeling a ton of pressure, like the world is on their shoulders because they've lost 7 straight. People on social media are going crazy, and it's just nuts. This is not what was expected. They landed Romeo, and they got a new coach, second season. Everything's going to be great, and it's not working out that way just yet.
Yeah, and then you talk about that kind of pressure and build up all summer long, and then you start the year out pretty decent. You have a couple of real quality wins, and I'm sure their mindset didn't have them being anywhere near where they're at right now, record wise. And so, it's a letdown. There's no doubt about it. They get to the point where, they start questioning themselves. And as soon as that happens, you're going to have situations where you lose games. And if you get even more detailed, where you don't come through in situations of a game where you generally would have. And, I said it after the game the other night. It's time for somebody to step up and play above the expectations that the coaches have for them, and maybe they even have for themselves. That's probably one of the biggest assets Coach Knight ever had. Was I think he got the most out of an awful lot of, or a big percentage of the players that were there, and it's time for these guys to do the same thing. They've got to play above their abilities and above what the expectations are of them. And I mentioned the other night, maybe Fennessy is one guy who's playing at least at, or maybe a little bit above what Indiana fans expected out of him, but you can go right down the list of everyone else on the team, and I don't think anyone else is even close to being able to make a statement like that.
No, and that brings up a point I mentioned earlier. We've talked about this extensively. There's no leadership on this team whatsoever, and a guy like Romeo, he's a freshman. You can't expect him to be a leader, but yet he is leading the team as far as on the court. And a lot of times when that happens, that kind of becomes the de facto leader. But in this case, it's not, and it's not fair to put that on him. And I think actually he should be getting led and taught by someone like Juwan Morgan. And so to me, this falls at Juwan Morgan's feet, whether he wants it or not. It's time for him to step up and be the leader because he is the de facto leader of this team, whether he wants to be or not. It's just how it is. But I'm not seeing that leadership from him.
Yeah, you are exactly right. That's one of the, I guess you could say, benefits. It's also one of the things that can be tough when you are one of the seniors, imagine being in his position and really the only senior with any Indiana experience. And, you know, that is a situation that you inherit just being that age and having played for several years there already. It's not something you necessarily seek or want, or certain guys don't. Certain guys do. Some guys flourish off of having other people look up to them and expect more out of them. And I'm not saying Juwan is not that way. It's just different personalities. I mean, he may not be a guy that, you know, that's super vocal or that tells everybody, you know, picks everybody up and tells them when they're doing well and things they need to do better and that kind of situation. And he doesn't appear to be that kind of vocal leader. I don't know him personally very well, so I don't know whether he is or isn't. But you're right when you look at the standpoint of they definitely don't have that out on the court. We can see it, and you can tell when a team has guys that they that are leading them. I think all the players look up to Juwan. I think that they see his effort and see how difficult you know it is to play. I'm sure he's relayed that information to them, but it's time for somebody to step up. And even if you're looking at the younger guys like a Romeo or that, I mean, they're played 20-plus games already. They're not freshmen really anymore. They played way more minutes than some guys that are looked at as juniors and seniors at other programs. So these guys have played a lot of minutes. It's time for somebody to step up, and that's a very tough situation. Guys don't change personalities all that often, and we're talking about almost a complete overhaul in the personalities that they show on the court.
Absolutely, it's the entire team for that matter, and everybody has an opinion on how to fix this team and what they need to do, and it's so easy to sit here. Well, they need to do this, and Archie needs to do that, and Archie needs to get a technical and throw a chair and this and that. But the reality is there a quick? I don't think there is a quick fix for this team. And what do they do? I know there's no such thing as a moral victory, but this weekend in East Lansing, can this team even get close to a moral victory?
Yeah, I do believe they can. I mean, I think this is a game. If they were, I mean, even in the Big Ten, if they were 9-2 right now, or whatever, at this point in the season, if they lost this game, it wouldn't be a backbreaker. And right now, it's kind of in that situation, especially from the standpoint of where they all are mentally. And I really think that this team can gain something from even losing to Michigan State. If they play well, it can also go the opposite and even be worse for them than it is right now and break their spirits. But they have got to come out, and it's such a cliche thing to say, but you learn it as you're there longer. They've got to play one possession at a time, and if you look and match up guy for guy with who Michigan State has, you know, it's not like Indiana is that out physical or out athletic or out skilled at any of the positions. It's not like you're playing Duke where, yeah, you've got four guys on the court that are obviously bigger, stronger, faster, and more skilled. You don't have that with Michigan State. They're very well coached. They've got some veteran players that have been through the wars of the Big Ten and the NCAA tournament, and they just know how to play. And they learned growing up through the system that what the difficulties were. And Indiana needs to come out in this game and prove that they can play with this team. And if they do that, it can be a moral victory. It can be a situation that kind of propels them, even if it's a loss. It can kind of propel them to let them know, hey, we can play with the 5th or 6th ranked team in the country. We can play with anybody, but they've got to do it one possession at a time, you know, one defensive rotation at a time. And it's hard to break it down in that detail.
Talking with Todd Leary, former Hoosier sharpshooter, played on Bob Knight's last Final Four team. This team, we've talked about their shooting, mentioned shooting, that it's not been very good, obviously from outside, and it's not. But yet they continue to put up a lot of shots from deep, like 20, 24 shots a game, and they're only hitting about 3 a game. Do they need to alter their offense somewhat to where they're not putting up as many of those and maybe working a little more offense? What are your thoughts on what they can do differently to maybe get to the point that they need to get to?
Make more is the biggest issue. I mean, I don't think, you watch teams nowadays, it's difficult to win games if you don't have some guys that can knock down 3-point shots. And we've already talked about Archie's system is a little bit slow pace is not the right term, but they're more deliberate, and they come down the floor. They're more of a Virginia-style offense where they're trying to be more deliberate when they come down the floor. They're trying to turn the ball over less, and I think they've accomplished some of those goals, but they also don't have the personnel that Virginia has, and so it's not – I think they've got to get a little more high-volume possessions and get up and down the court, try to get some easier baskets. I mean, that's kind of one of the things I've focused on in watching the games with you is this team needs to get down the floor and get an open shot, and if that's in the first 7 seconds of the shot clock, so be it, and you've got to take it because they're not getting easy shots late in the shot clock. And offensively, I think they've got to try to push the ball down the floor. I hate turnovers as bad as every other fan does, but I would swallow a few more turnovers right now if they were pushing the ball down the floor, trying to get to the free throw line. I mean, that was one of the staples of Bob Knight teams is, one, they were good free throw shooting teams, and that's kind of a hit on this team because they're not great free throw shooting team either. But when you get to the free throw line, there's all positives for your team. You've got a chance to rest a little bit. You've got a chance to score points without anyone guarding you, and you're putting a foul on someone on the other opponent's team. And those are all positives for you as an offense. And Indiana needs as many positives as they can get. They need to knock down those free throws, but they've got to get to the free throw line a bunch. And that starts with pushing it down the floor and trying to get some easy baskets and creating a situation where you've got an advantage against the defense. And walking it up the floor and setting 7 ball screens is not really going to accomplish putting the other team in a difficult defensive position.
No, and to follow up on that, the two guys that I have seen that have shown a propensity for the possibility of stepping up and being that other option, both Al and Rob Phinisee, and I think both of them need and have to step up for any changes to happen for this team. And coming from the guard position, both of those guys can do the things that you talked about, getting to the rim, get some easier shots, whether it's inside or outside. But those two guys, to me, have to make a difference in the rest of this season for it to make a difference for this team.
Yeah, there isn't any question, and it is a good thing that they are guards and they're the guys who need to step up because generally they have the ball in their hands more than say a 4 or 5 man would. But I agree with you. I think that we've talked a little bit about Al Durham. Looks like he's playing a little bit differently in the last 2, maybe 3 games, where he's trying to be more aggressive at offensive end, and that's not just putting up shots. That's getting the ball down the floor. Creating difficulty for the defense and putting them in bad situations where they might foul. And if you're kicking it off to somebody, that's great. But pushing it down the floor, I think Phinisee and Al Durham could make a huge impact and difference to this team if they would start doing that. But that's, I don't know that's what they're being told to do. Hey, this is my opinion, and I'm not on the coaching staff. I don't have a whole lot of influence in that, but it would sure be nice to see them try to create some easier scoring situations, and that is not going to happen running a slow half-court offense. It's only going to happen by pushing it down the floor, but hopefully those two guys could be that third scorer that steps up, and even if it's a combo of both of them, if they would both start getting 10, 12 points a game, that's a huge benefit for Indiana.
And this team has guys on it that all come from cultures of winning. Romeo Langford, Rob Phinisee, these guys are used to winning. I mean, back when you were in high school, I know the team you played on was good with Lawrence North and Eric Montross. But Pat Graham was in high school. Damon Bailey was in high school. All these winning programs. And Rob Phinisee and Romeo Langford also come from these winning programs. They're not used to losing. Do you think that they can use that in a positive way and get it to transfer it to the rest of the team? But I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. That's a real benefit. And I think college coaches benefit a great deal from getting players that come from a program that they've been taught the fundamentals, they've been taught, how to play, and it translates into a lot of wins. Now, these guys are all coming from AAU programs. I mean, you don't get rated in the top 5-star, 4-star, or whatever it is, without playing on an AAU program that plays a high volume of games and wins a lot. And that's, these guys have all done that. You're right. But I don't know how much that really translates to where they are right now. But I know they're probably in a position, at least mentally, where they don't have a ton of experience with it, because you're right. They do come from winning AAU and high school programs. So it's different for everybody, which is, unfortunately, Indiana fans are kind of getting used to having difficult teams and being in a difficult position. But these players, it's probably the first time for them. And that's when you rely back on some type of leadership, somebody to step up. And that, the coaching staff has to address those issues also and make some changes from their perspective too.
Absolutely, and looking forward to tomorrow night. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, Indiana, in southern Indiana. Todd and I will be there after the game with Todd Leary to talk about what happens. Hopefully it's a good result to talk about, whether it's even if it's in a loss, there can be positives come from that, and hopefully that's the case. But make sure you catch that with us and look forward to that. And Todd, what are you expecting in that game?
Pure wisdom.
Exactly. Gold. Trinkets of gold.
Yep.
So,
just ask, I'll tell you.
From what we've seen so far, what is your greatest expectation for this team tomorrow that they can do?
I would love to see something that's noticeable, that's a different approach, whether they are pushing it down the floor and trying to this is a difficult team to do that with, because I can tell you Michigan State's going to try to push it down the floor. But I would like to see it something where you can tell they're trying to do something different, because right now, this is a game of all the ones they've played so far where you might say, okay, well, they're not going to push it and run up and down the floor in this game because that's a recipe for losing by 40. But they kind of have to do that, in my opinion. I mean, we've got to see something that shows a different approach and expecting a different result and trying to do some different things. I doubt Michigan State's going to expect them to come out and run up and down the court. So hopefully it could be a situation that they pick up on it real quick. I think just like every other Indiana fan, I want to see a glimmer of hope. I want to see something that shows, okay, we can compete for the rest of the season and maybe go on one of those Cinderella runs where, we look back at February 1st and say, boy, just 45 short days ago, we weren't even thinking about making the NCAA tournament, and now we're right there in a position to do that with a good run in the Big Ten tournament. And that's where they've got to build to. That's where, as Indiana fans, we've got to see that out of tomorrow's game.
Absolutely. Todd Leary, former IU great. Looking forward to thanks a lot for today, and look forward to tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. Me too. I can't been thinking about that pizza I had since Wednesday night.
Looking forward to it, buddy. Thank you. Have a safe drive.
See ya. Yeah, you bet.
Todd Leary, former IU great, joining us, and he'll be in, like I said, tomorrow in Southern Indiana. We'll be at Bubba's 33 after the game with Todd Leary, so come on out. Check out the game at Bubba's, and if you're listening to it on radio, you can listen to it right here. The game's at 6 o'clock, post 6 o'clock Eastern time, and an hour before that, pregame comes on with Don Fisher, so make sure you tune into that. We'll be out there looking forward to that. A lot of games, high schools this weekend. Get out, check out a high school game tonight. Great games all over the place, wherever you are, and enjoy that, because nothing more fun than a great high school rivalry and checking that out. But that's been a great week for us on the program. Looking forward to getting to it next week. Hopefully Indiana can bring back a victory, and we'll find out tomorrow as they take on Michigan State up in East Lansing. And that's going to wrap it up today here on Indiana Sports Beat. For Justin Kalen, this is Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.